The light shines in the dark places. Hello, welcome back to miSKULLaneous. This is our first ever episode of Flashlight Fables, a new series we are starting on this channel. I'm David.
I'm Ryan.
It's true, he is. Anyway, Ryan, you may recall several months back we played a little card game with Tyler, and it was a cryptid war card game. 1, 2, 3. Yes! You freaking kidding me, man.
Oh, it's over!
That was unbelievable. What a freaking finish.
That was a good end.
That was incredible. And we said that the loser of that game would have to read Jeff the Killer, the infamous creepypasta, in a video by ourselves, and you said in the dark, and that gave me an idea. Let's read it like campfire story style with flashlights. And you have so graciously decided to join me in this endeavor, even though I lost the game.
I did not shut up, so I deserved it.
So anyway, what we're going to do is we're going to take turns reading through this story. This story is infamous. Would you mind explaining a little bit of why it is infamous?
It's infamous partially because it seems to have been created at a very particularly good time and associated with a very notorious image, such that it kind of spawned an entire world of offshoots.
And got a ton more fame than maybe a story like it would deserve before or after its time. But it kind of it's one of the main things people think back to when they think about the
Rise of creepypastas online.
Fascinating. It should go without saying that although the story is notorious crap, we obviously don't condone any harassment of the author, whoever that may be. You know, as a writer myself, most of the things that I have written are crap, and I can acknowledge that. So, as much as I don't want people bullying me, it hasn't stopped you guys. But hopefully, this stops anybody.
David, you're saying that before having read the story.
Well, I've heard. I said it's notorious. That means there's some form of notoriety.
All I'm saying is, please, if you can say that after having read it, then I'll
Okay.
take you more seriously.
Fine. So here we go. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel so that we can keep doing stuff like this. What the frick? Shut that kid up! Don't forget to subscribe to this channel so that we can keep doing stuff like this and eventually dominate the world with our content and kick those posers like Wendigoon and Meat Canyon off the freaking platform. I couldn't think of the word.
Do they even have real facial hair?
Without further ado, here we go. Lights out.
Excerpt from a local newspaper. Ominous unknown killer is still at large. After weeks of unexplained murders, the ominous unknown killer is still on the rise. After little evidence has been found, a young boy states that he survived one of the killer's attacks and bravely tells his story. Quotes, "I had a bad dream and I woke up in the middle of the night," says the boy. "I saw that, for some reason, the window was open, and even though I remember it being closed before I went to bed, I got up and shut it once more. Afterwards, I simply crawled under my covers and tried to get back to sleep. That's when I had a strange feeling, like someone was watching me. I looked up and nearly jumped out of my bed. There, in the little ray of light, illuminating from between my curtains, were a pair of 2 eyes. Those weren't regular eyes. They were dark, ominous eyes. They bordered in black and just..."
Hold on. How old is this boy?
It just says a young boy, but probably like preteen.
Okay.
Like 12.
He's speaking
Maybe
very
13.
Shakespearean, very poetically.
So, okay, so then maybe...
Not regular eyes.
Maybe-
They were ominous black eyes.
So,
Like a doll's eyes.
Probably like
A pair
13 or
of
14
2
in that
eyes.
case, because that's when...
Wait, what?
He said a pair of 2 eyes, so that would be 4 eyes.
I feel like 13 or 14-year-old boys start getting really dramatic.
just because you spoke like that when you were that age doesn't mean that that's the norm. I would say that you are the exception and not the rule, Ryan.
These weren't regular eyes. They were dark, ominous eyes. They were bordered in black and just plain out terrified me. That's when I saw his mouth. A long, horrendous smile that made every hair on my body stand up. The figure stood
All three of them.
watching me. Finally, after what seemed like forever, he said a simple phrase, but said it in a way only a madman could speak. He said, "Go to sleep." And I let out a scream. That's what sent him at me. He pulled up a knife, aiming at my heart. He jumped on top of my bed.
Sorry, I was trying to do the scream.
Oh, I appreciate that.
Sorry, I was trying to do the scream.
Yeah. He jumped on top of my bed. I fought him back. I kicked, I punched, I rolled around, trying to knock him off me. That's when my dad busted in. The man threw the knife. It went into my dad's shoulder. The man probably would have finished him off if one of the neighbors hadn't alerted the police. They drove into the parking lot and ran towards the door. The man turned and ran down the hallway. I heard a smash like glass breaking. As I came out of my room, I saw the window that was pointing towards the back of my house was broken. I looked out it to see him vanish in the distance. I can tell you one thing. I will never forget that face, those cold, evil eyes, and that psychotic smile. They will never leave my head. Police are still on the lookout for this man. If you see anyone that fits the description of him in this story, please contact your local police department.
I'd be more on the lookout for this boy. The way he was speaking was not normal. In the words of Will Smith from Men in Black, he's about to start some stuff.
Yeah, so
the books he's reading are way too advanced for his age.
the thing that I always love about these kinds of sequences is inexperienced authors tend to have no sense of timing with sequence of events. So,
well, also they have no sense of how an actual news report goes.
Oh yeah,
because that was the absolute. I've never heard an interview on a news whatever sound like that.
Yeah, complete irrationality when it comes to how real world things work, like police, news, things like that. That's a hallmark for sure. But what I love about this is, so
what am I doing?
The guy jumps on his bed, intent to kill him. Well, first of all, this is a young boy fighting a killer who's been murdering people, and somehow he manages to survive.
A young boy of unspecified age. But somehow he manages to fight this killer off long enough for his dad to hear it, wake up, ascertain something was wrong, and then burst into the room. Hold on. Kids, to be fair, children can be quite gangly and hard to wrestle. I tried to change Jack's diaper the other day, and he has gotten to an age where he basically has made it impossible. If he wants to twist over, it is almost impossible for me to hold him to keep him from twisting over. So, just saying. Kids can be rascals.
You know what's easier than changing a diaper? The kid that's struggling?
Murdering a child?
Taking a knife and stabbing it through its chest. That's way easier.
He didn't have normal eyes, it says, so he probably just couldn't see good.
That's actually possible. We might get into that. But then also...
Boom!
That happens. The guy throws a knife at the dad, and then the police immediately show up.
Ryan's flashlight is brighter than yours.
I know, but mine's got a red lens on it.
Oh, that's cool.
Or pink, I guess.
But yeah,
is it my turn
that's
to
the
read?
thing that always bothers me the most is when the police show up at the most random, as police ever respond.
The police never get there that fast.
Yeah, and then also a neighbor would have had to call them.
The interview thing is the part that's getting me. You're focused on the logic of the attack. I'm over here just this interview is one of the funniest things I've ever heard in my entire life. Jeff and his family had just moved into a new neighborhood. His dad had gotten a promotion at work, and they thought it would be best to live in one of those fancy neighborhoods. Jeff and his brother Liu?
I already hate his parents that they would name their child something like that.
I'm going to call him Liu because that's a ridiculous way to spell that name. Jeff and his brother Liu couldn't complain though. A new, better house. What was not to love? As they were getting unpacked, one of their neighbors came by. "Hello," she said. "I'm Barbara. I live across the street from you. Well, I just wanted to introduce myself." Introduce myself. That doesn't have a space in it, right?
Doesn't have to. It shouldn't.
Doesn't have to have a space.
We just got through one of the most ridiculous action sequences in any story I've ever read. And
See,
that's
you
what
focused
bothers
on
you?
that. Dude, I don't know. I'm anal about that stuff. For instance, one of my biggest pet peeves is when people mispronounce the word nuclear. I have an uncontrollable need to punch them when they do that.
I totally agree.
Introduce myself and to introduce my son. She turns around and calls her son over. "Billy, these are our new neighbors." Billy said hi and ran back to play in his yard. "Well," said Jeff's mom, "I'm Margaret, and this is my husband, Peter, and my 2 sons, Jeff and Liu." They each introduced themselves, and then Barbara invited them to her son's birthday. Jeff and his brother were about to object, when their mother said that they would love to. When Jeff and his family are done packing... When Jeff and his family are done packing... Wait.
Yes, it switched tenses just then.
I'm getting pissed off. All right. Jeff went up to his mom. "Mom, why would you invite us to some normal-eyed kids party? If you haven't noticed," I added that part. "If you haven't noticed, I'm not some dumb kid." "Jeff," said his mother, "we just moved here. We should know that we want to spend time with our neighbor."
Show.
Oh, we should show. The screen is really dim.
We can't blame them all on the Jeff Killer.
Yeah. "We should show that we want to spend time with our neighbors. Now, we're going to that party, and that's final!" Jeff started to talk, but stopped himself, knowing that he couldn't do anything. Whenever his mom said something, it was final. He walked up to his room and plopped down on his bed. He sat there looking at the ceiling when suddenly he got a weird feeling. Not so much a pain, but a weird feeling. He dismissed it as just some random feeling. He heard his mother call him down to get his stuff, and he walked down to get it.
You're going to hear a lot about weird feelings in this story.
Is that right?
Yep.
Well, I've already heard a lot. I've already heard a lot, I feel like.
Remember, the eyes gave that weird feeling too.
Oh, that's very true.
Keep track of the feelings. They matter.
The next day, Jeff walked downstairs to get breakfast and got ready for school. As he sat there eating his breakfast, he once again got that feeling.
I knew.
This time it was stronger. Well, it's a strong feeling this time. It gave him a slight tugging pain, but he once again dismissed it. As he and Liu... That sounds like he's about to have a heart attack. As he and Liu finished breakfast, they walked down to the bus stop. They sat there waiting for the bus, and then, all of a sudden, some kid on a skateboard jumped over them, only inches above their laps. That's awesome. They both jumped back in surprise. "Hey! What the hey?" I feel like I should make Jeff really trailer parky.
Just oh yeah. He's the redneck coming in from the countryside.
Yeah. He's just like, "Hey! What the
I just love the idea that's like they've just gotten into this really nice town and they just got this crazy skateboarder kid doing kick flips over entire benches with kids
over their laps.
Over their laps, yeah.
That's impressive.
I know. I'm just impressed.
It was awesome.
I just feel like that's a strange thing to just all of a sudden occur right when you get there.
All of a sudden, that's what they said. All of a sudden.
They did say all of a sudden.
Okay. The kid landed and turned back to them. He kicked his skateboard up and caught it with his hands. This kid sounds awesome. The kid, I could never do that when I was like trying to get into skateboarding. That was one thing I could never like master. I had to stomp on that freaking thing to get it to shoot up that high, and I was always afraid it was gonna clock me in the chin.
Heaven help you if you had managed to do it, you might have jumped over Jeff the Killer. Who knows?
We'll see what Jeff the Killer does to this guy, and then maybe I'll claim it, maybe I won't. Maybe he beats the crap out of Jeff the Killer, and that's how the story ends with his skateboard.
That would be pretty awesome.
It would be. Okay. The kid seems to be about 12. We're switching, would you say we're switching tense again?
Yes. And I think...
the present tense?
Yeah. I think, so they're all around, like, 12, maybe 13.
Yeah.
Keep that in mind.
But it said the kid seems. We were speaking in the past tense, and now we're in the present tense again.
I'm still thinking about like the physical nature of what's going on here. A 12-year-old kickflipping over.
That is because you are stupid.
From here on out, I vote you read the story as if it's the greatest story ever written, and you're really digging it.
Steven, go home. The kid seems to be about 12. 1 year younger than Jeff. He wears an Aeropostale shirt and ripped blue jeans. Well, it looks like we got some new meat. Suddenly, 2 other kids appeared. One was super skinny and the other was huge. Ryan, where were you before your diet?
It was a long time ago.
Well, since you're new here, I'd like to introduce ourselves. Over there is Keith. Jeff and Liu looked over to the skinny kid. He had a dopey face that you would expect a sidekick to have. And he's Troy. They looked over at the fat kid. He's called Troy because he's actually the size of the wooden horse. Talk about a tub of lard. What? Yeah, this is getting kind of mean now.
Look, that's
the horse one at least had a little class to it. You have to know your history.
It was a deeper joke, yeah.
This kid looked like he hadn't exercised since he was crawling.
Look,
and
this is more discrimination. All things that I faced. You know what? Yeah, I'm on this kid's side now. I'm in the gang.
Cry me a river. And I, said the first kid, am Randy. Now, for all the kids in this neighborhood, there is a small price for bus fare. If you catch my drift. Liu stood up, ready to punch the lights out of the kid's eyes when one of his friends pulled a knife on him. Tisk, tisk, tisk. I had hoped you would be more cooperative, but it seems we must do this the hard way. The kid walked up to Liu and took his... What?!
This is a 12-year-old child!
He's clearly the villain of the story!
He's saying cooperative, and they're pulling knives on other kids? In a nice neighborhood?
He's the villain of the story. I had knives when I was 12.
Were you pulling them on random kids to demand bus fare?
I didn't have any friends. The kid walked up to Liu and took his wallet out of his pocket. Now we're graduating to theft, and that's a felony. Jeff got that feeling again. Now it was truly strong, a burning sensation. He may need to go get x-rayed. He stood up, but Liu gestured him to sit down. He knew Jeff's true power. It was over 9,000. Jeff ignored him and walked up to the kid. Listen here, you little punk. Give back my bro's wallet or else. Randy put the wallet in his pocket and pulled out his own knife. Oh? And what will you do? Just as he finished the sentence, Jeff popped the kid in the nose. As Randy reached for his face, Jeff grabbed the kid's wrist and broke it.
He just snapped it like a twig. None can comprehend the power of the feeling, David. He had a feeling, David.
I told you his power was over 9,000. Randy screamed, and Jeff grabbed the knife from his hand. Troy and Keith rushed Jeff, but Jeff was too quick. He threw Randy to the ground. Keith lashed out at him. What does that mean? like angrily started yelling at him.
Yeah. He verbally started abusing him. Really, it's a way to ruin relationships, lashing out.
Well, there go their chances for being a couple. But Jeff ducked and stabbed him in the arm. Keith dropped his knife and fell to the ground, screaming. They rushed him too, but Jeff didn't even need the knife. He didn't even need it, Ryan. His power levels were too high.
He actually dropped the knife. He wanted it to be more physical, more personal. Knife, just, too much distance.
Knives are too quick.
Yep.
Can't savor all the little emotions, especially after they lash out at you with them. Keith dropped his knife and fell to the ground, screaming. Troy rushed him too, but Jeff didn't even need the knife. He just punched Troy straight in the stomach, and Troy went down. I feel like that's the worst spot you could punch a fat guy. That's where they have the most, meat,
It's not... Yeah. Oh, sorry, when you said worse, I didn't quite understand what you meant, but yeah, no, I agree.
Why would
it's
you
almost
target...
entirely ineffectual.
Yeah, why would you target that?
I think because he's so powerful, it didn't even matter. That's what he's trying to say. He could target you in the most invulnerable position you have.
Troy was just like, ugh!
If he had punched him, David, if he had punched him in the femur, that thing would have split like a toothpick, right? That's all I'm saying.
That would hurt. And Troy went down. As he fell, he puked all over. Liu could do nothing but look in amazement at Jeff. Jeff, how'd you? That was all he said. They saw the bus coming and knew they'd be blamed for the whole thing, so they started running as fast as they could. As they ran, they looked back and saw the bus driver rushing over to Randy and the others. As Jeff and Liu made it to school, they didn't dare tell what happened. All they did was sit and listen. Liu just thought of that as his brother beating up a few kids, but Jeff knew it was more. It was something scary. As he got that feeling, he felt how powerful it was. The urge to lust. Just.
David, he is 13. He's only beginning puberty, okay? Calm down. That's a different feeling. He's not got there yet.
They don't specify what the feeling is. How am I supposed to know? All I know is that it was powerful and painful. I had a powerful, painful feeling earlier today. It was just a giant dump I had to take. As he got that feeling, he felt how powerful it was, the urge to just hurt someone. He didn't like how it sounded, but he couldn't help feeling happy. He felt that strange feeling go away and stay away for the entire day of school, even as he walked home due to the whole thing near the bus stop. Even as he walked home due to the whole thing.
He's trying to say he avoided the bus. Or taking the bus
all right. Thank you. I got you. I understand now. Like I said, I'm not a good writer.
It's not the writing. You have to be incredible at reading to get through this.
And how now, Brown Cow? He probably wouldn't be taking the bus anymore. He felt happy. When he got home, his parents asked him how his day was, and he said, in a somewhat ominous voice, "It was a wonderful day." Next morning, he heard a knock at his front door. He walked down to find 2 police officers at the door, his mother looking back at him with an angry look. This guy is specifying looks and feelings. Looking with a look.
What else is there to
and
describe?
Feeling with a feeling.
David, what else is there? That's all there is.
There's a lot of words in the English language.
Feelings and looks. The depth of emotion of this story is incomprehensible to one like you.
Jeff, those officers tell me that you attacked 3 kids. That it wasn't regular fighting and that they were stabbed. Stabbed, son! Jeff's gaze fell to the floor, showing his mother that it was true. Mom, they were the ones who pulled the knives on me and Liu. Son, said one of the cops, we found 3 kids, 2 stabbed, 1 having a bruise on his stomach, and we have witnesses proving that you fled the scene. Now what does that tell us? I feel like the officer's actually being kind of friendly here. He's just like, and we have witnesses proving that you fled the scene. Now what does that tell us, little boy?
Well, also though, is this how police officers would address this kind of situation of like, multiple children were stabbed, and then they just show up and they're like, listen, here's all the evidence we have regarding this thing that occurred, this
Don't
possible
question
deadly
the authority
event.
of the state, Ryan. Gosh dang it.
Now, son, confess. We know it was you. You're going away for a long time, kid.
You're going away for a long time. Jeff knew it was no use. He could say him and Liu had been attacked, but then there was no proof it was not them who attacked first. They couldn't... I'm not good at reading. They couldn't say that they weren't fleeing. For a second, I thought it said they couldn't say that they weren't feeling. And I was like, yeah.
No!
That's
No!
That's about right. Because truth be told, they were. So Jeff couldn't defend himself or Liu. Son, call down your brother. Jeff couldn't do it, since it was him who beat up all the kids. Sir, it was me. I was the one who beat up the kids. Liu tried to hold me back, but he couldn't stop me. The cop looked at his partner and they both nod. That is ticking me off. I'm getting angry now. Because it's making me think I'm doing something wrong. By reading the story. Well, kid, looks like a year in juvie.
Yep, that's how they sentence kids. Yep, that's how they sentence how long you spend having juvie.
I'm Officer Brown. I am judge, jury, and executioner of this case.
Yep, we just go straight to jail. Straight to it. Yep,
straight to jail.
Yep, that's right.
Do not pass go. Do not collect $200.
What we need a judge for? We got all the evidence we need. We just went over that.
Wait, says Liu. They all looked up to see him holding a knife. The officers pulled their guns and locked them on Liu. It was me. I beat up those little punks. Have the marks to prove it. He lifted up his sleeves to reveal cuts and bruises, as if he was in a struggle. Son, just put the knife down, said the officer. Liu held up the knife and dropped it to the ground. He put his hands up and walked over to the cops. No, Liu! It was me! I did it! Jeff had tears running down his face. Huh. Poor bro trying to take the blame for what I did. Take me away.
See, I love that because the police are just like, all right, well, he did say he did it, so we'll take you instead. That wraps that up, thankfully. All right, straight to juvie. Our job here is done.
Do not pass go.
Yeah.
The police led Liu out to the patrol car. Liu, tell them it was me! Tell them! I was the one who beat up those kids! Jeff's mother put her hands on his shoulders. Jeff, please. You don't have to lie. We know it's Liu. We know it's Liu. That kid's no good.
He was a black sheep of the family from the start.
The wrong son died. Wrong kid died.
Listen. I didn't want him. He was a mistake. All right, we thought we had taken protection, and Liu showed up. All right, we didn't want him.
That's why we gave him such a stupid name.
But it's okay now, all right? The police have taken him away. He's not our problem anymore.
It was all orchestrated by the parents. They hired Randy to do it. Poor Randy. He's just a victim.
A 12-year-old hitman.
Poor 12-year-old deep-voiced Randy. You can stop. Jeff watched helplessly as the cop car speeds up. He literally switched tense in the same sentence. Jeff watched helplessly as the cop car speeds off with Liu inside. A few minutes later, Jeff's dad pulled into the driveway, seeing Jeff's face and knowing something was wrong. Son, what is it? Jeff couldn't answer. You answer me, boy, you're gonna get the belt! His vocal cords were strained from crying. And
the least dysfunctional thing in this family so far.
Instead, Jeff's mother walked his father inside to break the bad news to him as Jeff wept in the driveway. After an hour or so, Jeff walked back into the house, seeing that his parents were both shocked, sad, and disappointed. He couldn't look at them. He couldn't see how they thought of Liu when it was his fault. Sorry, I'm confused.
We're not even drunk yet.
He just went to sleep, trying to get the whole thing off his mind. 2 days went by, with no word from Liu at JDC. No friends to hang out with, nothing but sadness and guilt. That is until Saturday, when Jeff is woke up by his mother with a happy, sunshiny face.
That's right, her youngest child was just arrested 2 days ago.
When Jeff is woke up by his mother.
Dude,
Once
there's
again,
so many things wrong with this.
You're focusing on the wrong thing.
There are so many things wrong with this.
Jeff, it's the day, she said as she opened up the curtains and let light flood into his room. What? What's today? Asked Jeff as he stirs awake. Why, it's Billy's party. Are you kidding me, woman? Are you kidding?
Now it bothers you, yes.
Okay, now I'm focusing on the right thing.
This is what matters.
Yeah, this is what matters. This is crazy. So wait, her son, 2 days have gone by, no word from her son, after being taken by the police for assault.
Yeah. We were spot on.
Deadly assault with a weapon.
She did not want this child.
And she's like,
no
we gotta go to that birthday party, kid! Get your butt out of bed!
Also, you notice the fact that the police show up saying, your child stabbed and beat 3 other kids of a similar age to him, and she immediately looks back with an angry look at Jeff and is like...
She should have been like, my son's awesome.
Right, okay. No. But it's like, she's immediately like, oh, there's kids! Of course they would do that. It's like, what do you mean?
This is a story of vengeance now. I see what they're doing. Mom, you're joking, right? Okay. Jeff, he seems all there. You don't expect me to go to some kid's party after... There was a long pause because his mom is such an idiot she forgot what happened 2 days ago.
After what happened, Jeff?
Oh my word. What?
Gosh!
Sorry.
Jeff, we both know what happened. I think this party could be the thing that brightens up the past days. Now get dressed. Jeff's mother walked out of the room and downstairs to get ready herself. He fought himself to get up. He picked out a random shirt and pair of jeans and walked downstairs. He saw his mother and father all dressed up. His mother in a dress and his father in a suit. He thought, why would they ever wear such fancy clothes to a kid's party? Son, is that all you're going to wear? Said Jeff's mom. Better than wearing too much, he said. His mother pushed down the feeling to yell at him and hid it with a smile. Now, Jeff, we may be overdressed, but this is how you go if you want to make an impression, said his father. Jeff grunted and went back up to his room. I don't have any fancy clothes, he yelled downstairs. Just pick out something, called his mother. He looked back in his closet for what he would call fancy. He found a pair of black dress pants he had for special occasions and an undershirt. He couldn't find a shirt to go with it, though. He looked around and found only striped and patterned shirts, none of which would go with dress pants. Oh no, it's a fashion emergency. It's a crisis.
This 13-year-old is having a fashion emergency. He doesn't
Oh,
have any
no.
shirts to match his dress pants.
Finally, he found a white hoodie and put it on. You're wearing that. I feel like you should do the dad's voice while we do, because it says they both said. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
You're wearing that?
They both said. His mother looked at her watch. Oh, no time to change. Let's just go, she said as she herded Jeff and his father out the door. They crossed the street over to Barbara and Billy's house. They knocked on the door, and at it appeared that Barbara, just like his parents, way overdressed. As they walked inside, all Jeff could see were adults, no kids. Take over.
All right. Heaven help us. The kids are all out in the yard. Jeff, how about you go and meet some of them? Said Barbara. Is what we're calling her? I'm not questioning it. Jeff walked outside to a yard full of kids. They were running around in a weird cowboy costumes and shooting each other with plastic guns. He might as well be standing in a Toys R Us. Suddenly, a kid came down.
Lord, if only. If only.
Suddenly, it is a nice neighborhood. Suddenly, a kid came.
I was talking about Toys R Us. What were you talking about?
Toys.
Oh, okay.
Suddenly, a kid came up to him and handed him a toy gun and hat. Hey, wanna play? He said. No, kid.
He drops to his knees and goes, Lord Jesus.
Lord
Please help me not to assault any more kids. I promise I'll go to church every Sunday and Wednesday night from here on out.
I promise to give up my wicked ways of
Could
violence.
you please
and
make
terror.
me not feel that feeling anymore? I felt it too much already.
There's a demon hole up in me.
Lord, remove these feelings from me as far as the east is from the west.
I long to live a peaceful life among these people. Hey, wanna play? He said. No, kid. Wait, sorry. He's prepubescent. No, kid. I'm way too old for this stuff. The kid looked at him with that weird puppy dog face. Please, the kid said.
Why is he prepubescent?
Jeff is.
I thought he was 13.
Yeah. I mean,
he's getting there.
his voice is not deepened in a single octave yet.
Whatever.
Not
man.
a note.
Randy's younger than him. Did you hear his voice?
No. Oh.
Then you are a fool. I may not be able to read well, but at least I can listen.
Yes.
You son of a gun.
All right, forging onwards. Please, the kid said. Said the kid. Fine, said Jeff. He put on the hat and started to pretend to shoot at the kids. Oh boy. At first, he thought it was totally ridiculous, but then he started to actually have fun. It might not have been super cool, but it was the first time he had done something that took his mind off of Leo for the last 2 days.
It's Liu.
So, he played with the kids for a while, until he heard a noise. A weird rolling noise. Then it hit him.
And he felt that feeling.
He must have. Then it hit him. Randy, Troy, and Keith all jumped over the fence on their skateboards. Jeff dropped the fake gun and ripped off the hat. Randy looked at Jeff with a burning hatred. Hello, Jeff, is it? He said. We have some unfinished business. Jeff saw his bruised nose. I think we're even. I beat the crap out of you, and you get my brother sent to JDC. Randy got an angry look in his eyes. Oh no, I don't
Is that
go for
different from
even.
the look of burning hatred?
So I think it's the same look that Jeff's mother gave him. And so I think it's just a look of disappointment. That's how
I'm disappointed that you didn't beat me up more.
Randy got an angry look in his eyes. Oh no, I don't go for even. I go for winning. You may have kicked that one day, but not today. As he said that, Randy rushed at Jeff. They both fell to the ground. Randy punched Jeff in the nose, and Jeff grabbed him by the ears and headbutted him. Jeff pushed Randy off him, and they both rose to their feet. Kids were screaming and parents were running out of the house. Troy and Keith both pulled guns out of their pockets.
This 12-year-old gang, dude. They run the town, man. They're gonna take over a hotel building like that one gang in Colorado, right?
See, were you gonna comment over the fact that they jumped over a fence on their skateboards?
Fences aren't that hard to jump. It depends on the fence.
Jeff couldn't see them coming. It was over their heads.
12-year-olds are small.
It was a privacy fence, David. No one interrupts or guts will fly, they said. Randy pulled a knife on Jeff and stabbed it into his shoulder.
So they are literally doing this in front of everybody.
Yep.
In front of God and everybody at this party.
Two 12-year-olds just pulled guns on a pack of adults coming out.
So much for winning. You're getting arrested right after this, bro.
Oh, no.
You're getting arrested right now.
David, these kids run this town, all right? This is a serious motorcycle gang. They run this town.
They're like, man, that's the scooter gang. We can't mess with them.
Ever since they turned 10, they've been running this town. Yeah.
They jumped a fence, bro.
I can't do that. Oh, my goodness.
I mean, I can't do that, but it's because I'm 34.
Well, that is true.
I have peaked, and I'm going down the other side.
You had your chance. Now. You had your chance to run this town, David. It's long past. All right, next generation's got to pick it up from here, and they're about to. All right. So Randy has just pulled out a knife, pulled another knife on Jeff, and stabbed it into his shoulder. Jeff screamed and fell to his knees. Randy started kicking him in the face. After 3 kicks, Jeff grabs his foot and twists it, causing Randy to fall to the ground. Jeff stood up and walked towards the back door. Why was he walking?
Jeff broke his wrist earlier, or broke one guy's wrist earlier just by grabbing it.
Yeah. I
feel like what they meant to type was Jeff grabbed his foot and twisted the leg completely off and then started using it as a weapon.
No, he hasn't felt the feeling yet, David. You understand? He's only using mortal strength at this
you're
point.
right. Yeah.
But also, after causing Randy to fall...
He's only using mortal strength.
After causing Randy to fall, his two compatriots are still standing holding up all the other adults with guns, and Jeff simply starts walking towards the back door. I'm really curious why.
That feeling's coming.
It must
Confidence, Ryan.
He stood up and walked towards the back door. Troy grabbed him. Need some help? He picks Jeff up by the back of the collar and throws him through the patio door. A 12-year-old picking up a 13-year-old.
These 12-year-olds are 8 foot tall.
This is a 12-year-old picking up a 13-year-old.
These are Andre the Giant's kids.
Troy was the big one. He picked the tub of lard. He picked...
There's like no weapons, man.
Their words, not mine. And also, I can't remember now. I'm really trying to remember which one had their wrists broken, because one of them is holding a gun.
I think it was the skinny guy.
Okay, I'd hope so.
Because the fat one got punched in the stomach.
That is true. That's all it took. Then he threw up. All right. Needs some help. He picks Jeff up by the back of his collar and throws him through the patio door. As Jeff tries to stand, he is kicked down to the ground. Randy repeatedly starts kicking Jeff until he starts to cough up blood. Come on, Jeff. Fight me! He picks Jeff up and throws him into the kitchen. So Randy now, too, is picking people up. Randy sees a box.
None of the adults are doing anything.
Yeah. Well, they're helpless. I mean, a 12-year-old has a gun, and so, what are they going to do? They're just going to let this happen. So Randy picks Jeff up and throws him into the kitchen. Randy sees a bottle of vodka on the counter and smashes the glass over Jeff's head. Fight! He throws Jeff back into the living room. Come on, Jeff, look at me! Jeff glances up, his face riddled with blood. I was the one who got your brother sent to JDC, and now you're just gonna sit here and let him rot there for a whole year? You should be ashamed. Jeff starts to get up. Oh, finally! You stand up and fight! Jeff is now to his feet, blood and vodka on his face. Once again, he gets that strange feeling. Here it comes.
He's about to go Super Saiyan. He's about to go Super Jeff.
These three 12-year-old delinquents, what's gonna happen.
He's just like,
they don't describe the feelings, maybe it's indigestion, who knows. The one in which he hasn't felt for a while. Let me reread that sentence one more time. Once again, he gets that strange feeling. The one in which he hasn't felt for a while.
The one in which... So I understand they're trying to say he is fully enveloped by this feeling. This feeling is a presence which envelops him. So in which, he is inside of this presence.
Yeah, so David, that's not what they said at all.
It's like venom.
That's not what they wrote. They said the one in which he hasn't felt for a while.
In which.
I want to revel...
The feeling in which he dwells.
Before you start coping harder, I just want to reread one more time the sentence that is one of the most well-known creepypastas on the internet today. Once again, he gets that strange feeling, the one in which he hasn't felt for a while.
Yeah. In which.
I'm gonna move.
I have some copium right here.
I'm gonna move forward. Finally, he's up, says Randy as he runs at Jeff. That's when it happened. Something inside Jeff snaps. His psyche is
Randy
destroyed.
Hit him hard.
Yeah, there was no head blows. There was no blows to the head, though, as far as I remember. Just one punch to the nose. His psyche is destroyed. All rational thinking is gone, and all he can do is kill. He grabs Randy and pile drives him to the ground.
Heck yeah!
He gets on top of him. He gets on top of him and punches him straight in the heart. The punch causes Randy's heart to stop. As Randy gasps for breath with a stopped heart.
I would expect nothing less from a man who broke a wrist just by grabbing him.
Who just had a feeling. His psyche was just destroyed. He's beyond saving. Jeff hammers down on him. Punch after punch. Blood gushes from Randy's body until he takes one final breath and dies. With a stopped heart.
Is anybody monitoring the writer of the story? I'm just saying. They're really reveling in Randy's death
David,
here.
David, he wrote this when he was 13.
That explains the age.
I don't know that for sure, but I'm pretty confident. The evidence speaks for itself. Everyone is looking at Jeff now. The parents, they're inside now. So the parents are outside. The kids they're inside. The parents, the crying kids, even Troy and Keith. Although they easily break from their gaze and point their guns at Jeff. Jeff sees the guns trained on him and runs for the stairs.
I'm just not going to say anything.
Well, as he runs, Troy and Keith let out fire on him. Each shot missing. Jeff runs up the stairs. He hears Troy and Keith follow up behind. As they let out their final rounds of bullets, Jeff ducks into the bathroom. He grabs the towel rack and rips it off the wall. Troy and Keith race in, knives ready.
What?
They ran out of bullets.
Oh.
Yeah. Troy swings his knife at Jeff, who backs away and bangs the towel rack into Troy's face. Troy goes down hard, and now all that's left is Keith. He is more agile than Troy, though, and ducks when Jeff swings the towel rack. He drops the knife and grabs Jeff by the neck. He pushes him into the wall. A thing of bleach fell down on top of him from the top shelf. It burned both of them, and they both started to scream.
It burned both of them on the things.
Jeff wiped his eyes as best he could. He pulled back the towel rack and swung it straight into Keith's head. As he lay there, bleeding to death, he let out an ominous smile. "What's so funny?" asks Jeff. Keith pulled out a lighter and switched it on. "What's funny," he said, "is that you're covered in bleach and alcohol." Jeff's eyes widened as Keith threw the lighter at him. A 12-year-old who just got...
"I'll tell you what's funny. You may think you have beaten me, but you have no idea who is actually beaten."
But Keith, who is bleeding to death from a head wound.
I'll have you know, I also have a feeling, Jeff.
He's bleeding to death from a head wound, and that is his response. You know, Keith is the real protagonist here. He also apparently did all this with a broken wrist, which is impressive.
That's boss, dude.
It's pretty amazing. I like that. Maybe Keith could have stopped Jeff, you know. If anyone could have, it was him.
Yeah. I want Keith on my side.
You know, we all need Keith.
We need a Keith in our lives.
We need a Keith, yeah.
Do we have a Keith in our lives?
Steven. He would absolutely do that.
I don't know if he could do it. With a broken wrist? I feel like Mitch could. Mitch cut his finger off, and he was just like back at work the next day.
That is true. As soon as the flames made contact with him, the flames ignited the alcohol in the vodka. While the alcohol burned him, the bleach bleached his skin. While the alcohol burned him, the bleach bleached his skin. Jeff let out a terrible scream as he caught on fire. Thank you. He tried to roll out of the fire, but it was no use. The alcohol had made him a walking inferno. He ran down the hall and fell down the stairs. Everyone started screaming as they saw Jeff, now a man on fire, drop to the ground, nearly dead.
A boy on fire.
The last thing Jeff saw was his mother and the other parents trying to extinguish the flame. That's when he passed out.
When Jeff woke, he had a cast wrapped around his face. He couldn't see anything, but he felt a cast on his shoulder and stitches all over his body. He tried to stand up, but he realized that there was some tube in his arm. And when he tried to get up, it all fell out. And a nurse rushed in. "I don't think you can get out of bed just yet," she said, as she put him back in his bed and reinserted the tube. Jeff sat there with no vision, no idea of what his surroundings were. Finally, after hours, he heard his mother. "Honey, are you okay?" she asked. Jeff couldn't answer, though. His face was covered, and he was unable to speak. "Oh, honey, I have great news. After all the witnesses told the police that Randy confessed of trying to attack you, they decided to let you go." This made Jeff almost bolt up, stopping halfway, remembering the tube coming out of his arm. "He'll be out by tomorrow, and then you two will be able to be together again.
Just like that. On the testimony of a 12-year-old, he was thrown in jail, and on testimony of a 12-year-old, he's pulled right back out.
No, on the testimony of about 1 billion 30-something-year-olds, probably.
No, I mean, yeah, but they're all just testifying that Randy said that he attacked, that he was the one.
I forgot to turn the light on when I spoke. I apologize.
That means Jeff the Killer is going to come and kill you.
Oh no, he's going to break my wrist.
No, I think he's going to punch you in the heart.
And stop it.
And then proceed to beat you to death.
Jeff's mother hugs Jeff and says her goodbyes. The next couple of weeks were those where Jeff was visited by his family. Then came the day where his bandages were to be removed. His family were all there to see it. What he would look like. As the doctors unwrapped the bandages from Jeff's face, everyone was on the edge of their seats. They waited until the last bandage holding the cover over his face was almost removed. "Let's hope for the best," said the doctor. He quickly pulls the cloth, letting the rest fall from Jeff's face. Jeff's mother screams at the sight of his face. Liu and Jeff's dad... In case you forgot that they're brothers, Liu and Jeff's dad stare awestruck at his face. Wait, what? Stared.
Stare.
Would have been better.
Stare.
Oh, because it's present tense.
It is now.
What? What happened to my face? Jeff said. He rushed out of bed and ran into the bathroom. He looked in the mirror and saw the cause of the distress. His face, it's horrible. His lips were burnt to a deep shade of red. His face was turned into a pure white color, and his hair singed from brown to black. I don't think that's how that works.
No. Fire changes the color of hair. Well, especially when it's soaked in bleach.
It had a sort of leathery feel to it now. He looked back at his family, then back at the mirror. Jeff said, "Oh, Liu was there?" Oh, Liu and Jeff's dad stare awestruck. I didn't know Liu was there.
Oh, yeah.
It's still a weird way to phrase that.
No, they let him out of juvie. He's cleared.
Jeff's dad and Liu would have been better. Anyway. "Jeff," said Liu, "it's not that bad." "Not that bad," said Jeff. "It's perfect!" His family were equally surprised. Jeff started laughing uncontrollably. His parents... Steven keeps trying to discover new ways to get fired from the crew. His parents noticed that his left eye and hand were twitching. Jeff, are you okay?" "Okay? I've never felt more happy! Ha 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 ha! Oh. Look at me! This face goes perfectly with me!" He couldn't stop laughing. He stroked his face, feeling it. He feels a lot of stuff. Looking at it in the mirror.
Really in touch with his emotions. See that guy.
Looking at it in the mirror is its own sentence. What caused this? Well, you may recall that when Jeff was fighting Randy, this is like one of those Dukes of Hazzard kind of like things, I feel like. Like he's laughing in the mirror, and it's just like, you know, the footage freeze frames. And it's just like, what caused this? Well, you may recall that when Jeff was fighting Randy, something in his mind, his sanity, snapped.
The aforementioned feeling was felt
The
to such a degree
aforementioned feeling.
that his
Now
mind
he was left as a crazy killing machine. That is, his parents didn't know. "Doctor," said Jeff's mom, "is my son all right? You know, in the head?" "Oh yes, this behavior is typical for patients that have taken very large amounts of painkillers. If his behavior doesn't change in a few weeks, bring him back here," and we'll give him a psychological test. Oh, thank you, Doctor. Jeff's mother went over to Jeff. Jeff, sweetie. It's time to go. Jeff looks away from the mirror. His face still formed into a crazy smile. "Okay, Mommy." His mother took him by the shoulder and took him to get his clothes. "This is what came in," said the lady at the desk. Jeff's mom looked down to see the black dress pants and white hoodie her son wore. Now they were clean of blood, and now stitched together. Jeff's mother led him to his room and made him put his clothes on. Then they left, not knowing that this was their final day of life.
I wonder what's gonna happen. What's gonna happen, David?
That darn Jeff the Killer's at it again.
I thought it was just the painkillers, David. I thought it was fine. They're saying what they're saying.
This is a serious moment. We just found out they're gonna die.
David,
turn your flashlight off.
They're saying something's gonna happen, David. What's gonna happen?
Hold me close, Ed.
I still just love the doctor being like, "Oh yeah, sure." He's like,
"Oh, this is totally normal."
Jeff is laughing. Jeff is laughing hysterically at his horrible looking face in the mirror. Saying, his face is perfect. His left eye is twitching. And the doctor's like, "Yeah,
he keeps talking about
totally normal.
Keeps talking about finding the Batman.
It's fine, whatever. Just go away. Get out of my operating room."
Later that night, Jeff's mother woke to a sound coming from the bathroom. It was a sound that sounded... No, I'm just kidding. It sounded as if someone was crying. She slowly walked over to see what it was. When she looked into the bathroom, she saw a horrendous sight. Jeff had taken a knife and carved a smile into his cheeks. "Why so serious?" "Jeff, what are you doing?" asked his mother. Jeff looked over at his mother. "I couldn't keep smiling, Mommy. It hurt after a while. Now I can smile forever."
Jeff, that was a good cutlery.
They forgot a quotation mark there. Jeff's mother noticed his eyes ringed in black. "Jeff, your eyes." His eyes were seemingly never closing. "I couldn't see my face. I got tired and my eyes started to close. I burned the eyelids so I could forever see myself. My new face." Jeff's mother slowly started to back away, seeing that her son was going insane.
He seemed so fine and normal before.
I didn't know that. What's wrong, Mommy? Aren't I beautiful?" "Yes, son," she said. Yes, you are. Let me go get Daddy so he can see your face." She ran into the room and shook Jeff's dad from his sleep. "Honey, get the gun!" That is real. That is a thing that is in this story. I did not make that up. That was not an ad-lib.
Her son, who just got home from the hospital, is having a mental breakdown. "Honey, get the gun. We gotta put him down.
Honey, get the
kid's
gun.
broke."
She stopped as she saw Jeff in the doorway holding a knife. "Mommy, you lied." That's the last thing they would hear as Jeff rushes them with the knife, gutting both of them. His brother Liu woke up, startled by some noise. He didn't hear anything else, so he just shut his eyes and tried to go back to sleep. As he was on the border of slumber, he got the strangest feeling that someone was watching him. He looked up before Jeff's hand covered his mouth. He slowly raised the knife, ready to plunge it into Layu. Layu thrashed here and there, trying to escape Jeff's grip. "Shh," Jeff said. "Just go to sleep." The end.
Chills, literal goosebumps, all over my arm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So,
loved that.
I would just like to point out, if we're going back to the beginning of the story, where you have a young boy who Jeff struggles with mightily, like just can't seem to kill. Jeff jumps onto his bed and tries to stab him in the heart.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
with a knife.
Yeah.
2 full-grown adults, fully awake and aware that he was there, and he just goes up and guts him. Just no problem.
So what's the problem here?
The person who wrote this story was literally a 13-year-old with no understanding of how any of this works. So, I'd heard so much internet content created from this. I've heard songs. I have one on my phone, actually. Really, yeah.
That's my son screaming.
He's lost his mind. He's got a feeling, David.
He's feeling that
Get
feeling,
the
bro.
gun.
Run, get the gun.
Listen. We will have more children. Try again. No, but I've seen like webcomics. I've seen offshoots of this. I've seen so much content related to this.
Mm-hmm.
But I never heard the story until just like a few months ago. And then I finally heard the story, and I just was floored. I couldn't believe it.
It is incredible. 10 out of 10.
This is the
incredible.
story that spawned all of that, where it's like I've been hesitating so much to write myself. Like, I've got so many different stories I want to try to write. I've kind of written short snippets.
Mm-hmm.
This gave me so much confidence. This
That-
unbelievable
yeah.
injection of confidence of like, no, it doesn't matter at all how good or bad it is.
You just gotta come up with something weird, dude. People don't care about quality as long as it's weird.
And so what's interesting is so much of it comes down to the timing, where this image was circulating a ton.
Yeah.
And a lot of people talk about how people were making stories about this image, and this was the one that took off.
Yeah.
And I can't remember if this coincided with the I can't remember how the release of this coincided with the Dark Knight, but the thing with the carved
Is this
smile,
story that old?
it's really old. I think I can't remember exactly when it was, like 2000, between like 2010 and 2013, I think, somewhere around
Okay.
area. Yeah. So
Very, very nice.
yeah, but no, it always amazes me though of how like it's not really necessarily the quality of the story that propels something into becoming a cultural phenomena. It's just certain elements coming together for whatever reason captures the collective consciousness. Because when you actually read that story, it is there's something kind of remarkable about it,
Yeah.
but not the thing the author wanted.
I was remarked.
There were remarks.
Well, this has been Flashlight Fables. Like and subscribe. Bye.